Good morning. Hello from Browns Bay in Auckland. It's Friday, the 24th of April. It's day 30 of lockdown, and I hope it's been a good week for you. I wonder how much good news you've had this week and who's told you the good news. A lot of the reports in the paper are pretty bad. The news each day on television is quite grim. But we're a good news people, hopefully, which reminds me of the story of a student at a seminary who had to preach for his homiletics class. And he struggled all night to find the right thing to say. So on the day, he got up and he said to the students and the dean, "Do you know what I'm going to say?" And they said, "No." And he said, "Well, neither do I. The service has ended. Go in peace." Well, the dean was less than thrilled and said, "No, you've got to do it again. You can't just get out of it like that." So the next day, they tried again at the chapel service. He got up and he said, "Do you know what I'm going to say?" And the student said, "Yes." So he said, "Well, I don't have to tell you." And he sat down again. Well, the dean was really furious and said, "One more chance or you're out of the seminary." So the third time he got up at chapel and he said, "Do you know what I'm going to say?" And half of them said yes, and the other half said no. And he said, "Well, those who know tell those who don't know. The service has ended. Go in peace." Well, the dean had to give him some credit. And he said, "Well, I think that might be what it's all about. Those who know tell those who don't know." I remember years ago as a young person being someone who thought I knew but never really told others. And at school, I remember someone saying to me, "But you never told us it was like this." That was probably because I hadn't really discovered the heart of this knowledge of what it means to know God in a real and intimate way. And when that did happen, I think I became a bit irritating to people, always telling them what they didn't always want to hear. But of course, that's the kind of passion you have as a teenager. In this world that we're living in at the moment, there's a lot of grim stuff going on. And we have some good news to share. We have hope, we have love, we have God's grace to talk about, and we need to be the ones who tell people, who share those stories. We don't have to be preachers necessarily, but if we can just be encouragers and those who support one another and care for each other, it makes a difference in other people's lives. Jesus, when he told his stories and parables, looked for practical illustrations around him. Often he spoke about birds and nature and agriculture and used various images. Storytelling is actually one of the best ways to share good news. And I think if we can learn to tell stories to children, we might actually find new ways of sharing our stories with others as adults as well. I hope that you have some good news to share, maybe a story or two that you can tell others where you found encouragement or help or support, or certainly God's love and grace upholding you in difficult times. Spare a thought for those who are going through grief and sorrow this week. Every day there are more people who are thrown into the depths of mourning and sadness. We pray that God will give them encouragement and uphold them and bless those who mourn. So enjoy your day and be someone who is hopeful and tells some good news to those who don't know. Goodbye from Browns Bay, and we'll see you again. Take care.